Welcome into That's Boxing, episode 7.
That's boxing.
How you feeling today? You recovered from our festivities?
Hardly.
Yeah.
I'm still reeling with the feeling, man.
Yeah.
Canelo fever is running in my veins.
Okay, I feel you. Cinco de Mayo energy. You're running with it.
Yeah, it was a
like
great
it.
party. Great party. Great fight night.
It was a great fight night. If you didn't miss our last episode, listen to it. It was a train wreck. That's what we try to bring you.
Yeah, we brought the whole squad in the studio and just wrecked that train.
Yep, poorly planned. Let's get it. We'll get into there's good fight coming up this weekend and next weekend.
Yes.
So I'm excited about this episode. But let's run through some quick news.
Quick news.
You want good news or bad news first?
Give me the bad news, man.
Actually, I have bad news and worse news.
Well, fuck, man. Start with the bad news.
Okay. Beterbiev ruptured his meniscus and will not fight Bivol.
Oh, man. That was supposed to be the fight of the year.
I know. Is that what are you looking forward to more, that fight or Usyk Fury?
Oh, definitely that fight.
Yeah,
Usyk
same.
Fury. It's going to be interesting. But, man, I mean, this light heavyweight showdown's been years in the making.
Yeah.
And now it's postponed again.
I think classically it was like puncher versus boxer, but now Beterbiev's kind of come on as a boxer of late, and it's just become this incredible showdown, I think.
Well, how long are you out with the meniscus tear? What's the recovery on that? Probably 6 months, 8 months?
Yeah.
So maybe it will be the fight of the year. It just won't happen until the end of the year.
I just hope it doesn't have any negative effect on what he wants to do. That he comes back full he's getting up there. He's 40 years old or something.
Yeah.
You want him to come back and even if he ends up losing the fight, whatever, you want to know it was best versus best.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that one still gets made.
Yeah, so they're still doing the 5x5 card, and Beterbiev gets replaced by Libyan fighter Malik Zanad.
All right.
Are you familiar with this guy?
Just a little bit of research on him recently. Sounds like he's an undefeated boxer in Libya, 6 foot tall, orthodox, but I don't think he's going to have enough to slow down Bivol. Hopefully it's not going to be a stinker or an upset.
I mean, an upset would be, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
But this he's 22-0 with 16 wins by knockout. I watched a little bit of his last fight. You know, just from the eyeball test, I would say it's an easy win for Bivol, but I don't want to overlook this guy, you know?
Yeah, sometimes those are the ones that shock you, surprise you, and ruin the whole party for the big match that was supposed to happen and is now going to get derailed because this guy stepped in and did something he wasn't supposed to do.
Yep. Well, we'll get some more breakdown and analysis of his film and talk closer to that fight. Worse news, maybe. Depends on who you are, I guess. We haven't really officially talked about this. Garcia testing positive for ostracine, which is a SARM, selective androgen receptor module, basically a steroid.
Sure.
Man was juicing. He was Barry Bonds in it.
What, you telling me a nice, young, honest Christian kid is going to be doing something illegal?
It's shocking.
Wow,
It's especially one with such a track record of mental stability, clarity, poor, good decision making. It was interesting on the conspiracy theory front, right? Because he comes out immediately and says, wait a minute, I gave the sample before the fight. They let the fight go on. Then the very, night that this comes out, Devin Haney's in LA on ESPN. It felt, there's some orchestratedness, but let's hear from Devin Haney in that recent interview.
I'm a special kind of fighter. So, I never fought. And, a guy has been that much better than me. I've never been overmatched like that. And I've been in there with the best fighters in the world.
Well, he's definitely a cheater. I don't think there's any way around it. And the whole thing about not showing the results before the fight, it takes 72 hours for the test to come back anyways. It's not like an immediate test. It's not like COVID test.
Right.
So they didn't know till later. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised. And does it matter, though? Does it really matter? No, the Ryan Garcia train rolls on. His fans, his stands, they're going to support him no matter what. Yeah. They're not boxing fans. They're Ryan Garcia fans. It's like they're like in a whole category of their own.
I will say, though, if those are his fans, he needs to fight, the YouTubers. But fighting a pound-for-pound contender, right, or someone who's being earmarked as maybe a generational talent, right, even with the 3 pounds overweight, you're kind of like, okay, maybe we should put some respect on this guy's ability, right? He earned back some credibility, I think, in the boxing world, and this does undermine that.
Certainly does, yeah. It's going to have an asterisk next to his victory here for all of us true boxing fans. And coming in overweight, using illegal performance-enhancing drugs, and just being disrespectful to the sport in general, old school boxing fans and diehards aren't going to appreciate any of that kind of activity.
No.
But you can't say the kid can't punch. And even off the steroids,
but why
the kid
can he
punch? But he just wants to punch a little bit harder. He wants to recover faster. What does that drug do?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it just puts you in an anabolic state, so you're more likely to build. It's easier to build muscle and lose fat simultaneously.
Oh man, I got to try that.
Yeah, they're like, it's a really interesting research chemical. You can order them for quote unquote your lab rat, right? Legally on website on the dark net. And but medically, they're starting to use them for cancer patients and people who have deleterious muscle effects. And this seems like a safer way because it essentially protects your organs because it's a selective androgen module rather than global, right?
Wow, Dr. Dust in the house today.
Yeah, I know some things. I got a day job, but not to be used in boxing where. Things like that are clearly an unfair advantage and you're putting somebody's life at risk. And Haney said he's not interested in the rematch. And, I can respect that. Even just from a PR standpoint, it's probably the right move. Like, hey, man, you didn't really beat me. Do you think they get a switch to a disqualification?
Oh,
no
Bill's trying for that. They're going to try everything. But like I said, I don't think it really changes too much of the story for most people. You just, whether or not he was cheating, it still was he dominated Haney that night, but we never intended or expected to see a rematch there, and we expected the Ryan Garcia train to just roll on down the line to the next freak show, and that's what they'll do, and they'll just keep going, and his fans won't care, and casuals don't care, and I'm just looking forward. Really, more what we should be talking about is what is Devin Haney going to do now?
Yeah,
who's he going to fight next, and how's he going to get it back?
Well, on the Garcia Freak Show chain, just real quick, I think that should roll right into Connor Ben's station.
Oh, the dope duo, doped up duo.
And they should do it. No testing, whatever they want, as many drugs as humanly possible.
All the eggs,
let's go,
dude.
Yeah,
all the eggs and ostrich.
Yeah. All the eggs and tainted Mexican meat that they can get their freaking hands on, and then just let it go.
Yeah,
I like
that would be a crazy fight. That'd be so entertaining.
I'm into that fight. What should Devin Haney do? I don't know. I think just he needs to get back on track, right? Do what Shakur is doing what Tank's doing. Look for a not top 5, but a maybe top 10 or 12, right? Competitor. And
what was that guy from Canada that Lopez was supposed to fight but didn't come together? Claggett.
Throw
him in there with Steve Claggett. That should be a good.
Yeah.
Good.
Is that officially off, that fight?
I don't know if it was ever on.
I think it was on, and then Tio just came out and was like, "I'm still looking for an opponent." I was like, "Wait, what? I thought you."
That's probably how Claggett found out too. He's probably in the gym hitting that heavy bag, right. And somebody showed him a tweet. And like, damn.
He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get paid."
Yeah.
Okay.
What else we got in the news?
Okay. This is not an official story, but the news is kind of leaking out that His Excellency Turki al-Sheikhi, who's the entertainment minister, I think, in Saudi Arabia, and now essentially the most important man in all of boxing.
Mr. Turkey.
Yeah. Is looking to make Canelo Crawford in December or January.
Oh, my God.
Is this embarrassing? Is this exciting? How are we supposed to feel about this?
I don't appreciate the obsession with super fights in this sport because it overlooks all the hardworking boxers that are ranked in these weight classes that aren't getting the shot and the shine.
Yeah.
So, while it's an interesting thing, it's not, on paper, right? Who would win, whatever. I don't want to see it. Obviously, I'll watch it, but I'm not pining for that. There's other boxers in their weight classes that they need to be fighting.
Who?
Well,
Boots. Here, because this is the funny thing about Crawford, right? Is what's his weight class? If he stays at 147, it's like, okay, maybe
they're on turkey weight, bro. Whatever weight they want.
Right. You got this Spence rematch. You've got Boots Ennis. And this is like a funny thing if you're Crawford, right? So if I'm Crawford, me personally, I would just be focused on the record, becoming the only boxer to be unified in 3, right? Which means
168 pounds.
150. Well, so there's 2 different paths, right? One, if he gets a sanctioned fight with Canelo and beats him, that's one fight at 168. He becomes
all 4 belts,
right? Or what's the fastest path at 154, right? I believe Fundora now has 2 belts, so that's 1 defeat, and then he's got to track down the others, right? So that might be 3 fights.
Well, he's fighting for a belt in his first fight.
Right, so he's going to get 1 there.
Yeah.
And then he's going to fight Fundora, pick up another 2. Yeah. And then it'd be great if Fundora could pick up the other one in the interim, but probably not going to happen.
Yeah. And he'll if he goes that path, it'll probably take him 2 years, if not longer. Because he's kind of had a record of only fighting once a year recently.
Right.
So,
But he
back
could
to the
ramp that
Canelo
up.
thing. I don't see it happening. I don't want to see it happen. Stick to your weight class. Canelo needs to fight who he needs to fight, and you know who he needs to fight.
Yeah, we all know who he needs to fight. But if you're Crawford, I mean, Canelo, this might be a lose-lose, right? Because why lose to somebody smaller than you or win when you're not going to get any credit because you just beat up the guy smaller than you? But if
Yeah, I
you're-
think that's what he said on the Mexican interview a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So what's the value here? High risk, low reward.
I mean, maybe $150 million.
But Turkey's going to try to pay him to play. But
But if you're Crawford and you believe that you have a path to victory with Canelo at 168 pounds, not only are you going to get your third unified championship, but you're also going to defeat go up in weight 2 weight classes, right? 3 weight classes technically, and because you never fought at 154, right?
yeah, 54, 60, and 68.
68, and beat Canelo. That's a legacy cementing. And so then the question becomes, can he do it?
Yeah, but this is, like I said, this is like this fantastical super fight idea. You know, I've seen Crawford. I met him briefly at the amateur tournament last year in Lafayette down at the Olympic trials. He was there, and he was nice enough to take some pictures with people, and I met him briefly. And he's not a humongous dude. I mean, he's a pretty thick dude for 147, and now, you know, clearly can fight up to 154, but I don't see him as a 168 pounder. Canelo probably, you know, he's a much bigger dude. I've never met Canelo, never been anywhere near him. I think he's a lot harder guy to get close to, but I get the impression he's a lot larger of a dude. I don't see Crawford's punching power going up there and doing anything to Canelo that it hasn't been done to him before. He's been in there with Triple G 3 times, one of the biggest punchers in the history of boxing.
No, Canelo's chin is also probably not the path to victory anyways, right? I mean, it's going to take an insane puncher to put Canelo to have power be the deciding factor. But if you look at the Bivol fight, and obviously Bivol is the opposite, right? Canelo was moving up rather than the other fighter moving up to fight him. But Bivol didn't need power to beat him. I mean, maybe he got a little bit of respect, but I think he mostly frustrated him. And I think if anyone has the skills to do that, it is Crawford. I mean, he's crafty, he's tricky. I think it becomes a mental equation at that point, right? If he tries to stand in the pocket and trade with Canelo, he's going down.
Yeah,
no doubt.
But he's really crafty defensively. I think
Canelo or Crawford.
Well, both of them, but Crawford,
Yeah.
I think, is one of the best defenders.
That's what I
in
mean.
Boxing.
So if he stays that elusive and boxes to a point decision, I see that. I could see it.
Okay, well, it's an interesting fantasy fight, but I don't know if it's going to happen in this timeline that we exist in here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But I thought that was interesting.
Turkey,
it was a fantasy. It was a pipe dream.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it came out and was like, no, I'm going to try to make that fight
Well,
happen.
did you hear one piece of news I heard that it's unconfirmed, but Jared Anderson versus Deontay Wilder, potential fight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that as well.
That's
so
going to be an interesting
Wilder's got to get through Zhang.
Right. Which I think he can.
Yeah. You think he's going to do it?
I think so.
It just depends what Wilder shows up, right?
If ayahuasca Wilder shows up again, he's not going to do it.
Too
but
much
hopefully
peace and love.
They went back to Alabama and got back in the gym and
Yeah.
straightened him out a little bit.
I hope so. Malik, if you're listening to this, get this man in shape. You know, you lost me $200 on Christmas.
Oh, man.
But, I mean, Jared Anderson, Wilder's an amazing fight. Zhang was one of my favorite heavyweights, if not, other than Usyk. You know, he was my kind of dark horse candidate to come out of nowhere and win it all. Watching him dismantle Parker twice, Joe Joyce twice.
Yeah.
But having him dismantled by Parker was brutal. You know, that
That's
man's
boxing,
stock is
man.
on all time high.
That's boxing.
Well, let's look forward. Any other news? We're good on news. I think that's a lot of news.
It's a lot of news. I think we're caught up.
Let's look forward to the fight coming up this weekend. ESPN card. I guess it's in Australia, right? Which means it's actually on at a decent time here. It's a good time zone change. It's on in the evening.
Dude,
Yeah.
you know me, I can't figure time zones out, dude. I got to Google every time. Like, what is the time now in Australia? I have no
What's
idea.
the time in Portland, Oregon?
Yeah, what time is it now? I don't know.
I just remember the last from when he fought Haney twice. I was like, this is on at a reasonable hour, which I personally appreciate. Although I'm getting more acclimated to like making waffles and coffee and watching boxing in the morning.
I like morning boxing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
turning more like a football thing. It's kind of
It should be that way.
yeah, they could change. But yeah, it's on at 6 p.m. Lomachenko versus Kambosos. What's your read on this fight? Is this going to be a good fight?
I believe it'll be a good fight. Loma's such a great, all-time great. He's done so much. He's got so much skill and so much ability that whatever version of Kambosos shows up, I think it'll give Loma a chance to shine. It might be a swan song. You know, he's getting up there in age, but he's still got the ability. And Kambosos isn't a dangerous enough guy, I think, to threaten him with any kind of knockouts or anything. So, you know, when was the last time Kambosos knocked somebody out? If ever. You know, his knockdown of Teofimo Lopez was a huge moment in the first or second round of their fight.
Yeah.
But Lopez got up and kept going, you know. He's not a KO kid. So I don't expect him to knock out Lomachenko. I expect Loma to do a great performance using that footwork, using the jab, spinning around him in circles, and putting on a real show. That's my prediction. The Loma show is coming to Australia.
Well, looking at Kambosos' box rec, you got to go back to June 2019 to find a TKO victory over Richard Penna.
Okay.
And that's that's why I ask if it would be a good fight, right? Is this just the Loma show where he steamrolls him, or is there a fight to be had here? I mean, Kambosos has kind of proven himself that he's not somebody you should look past, but he's also not proven himself again, like you just said, as somebody dangerous that, right, is someone to get through. It's an interesting fight for Loma. I don't know what career path he feels like he's on at this late stage. It felt like the Haney moment was his moment, and you know, he got overlooked, whether you think it was a robbery or a close fight.
Definitely a close fight.
Yeah.
I think his path is, I think he stated he's trying to get back to the titles one more time. And this the road to beat former title holders and then move his way back up. Now that Haney's out of that division, who's standing in his way after this? Yeah,
I think Shakur. That's the fight that made more sense to me. His last top ranked fight, go fight the dude that has a belt and who kind of gives you a little bit of legacy. I don't think if he beats Kambosos, people are going to wake up the next day and say, wow, Loma really showed what he has. But if he were to dismantle Shakur, it's like, okay, wow, people really consider that guy a top-notch boxer, and
that would be a tough fight. That'd be a really tough fight, but a very exciting fight. And it's edge of your seat.
And it's a fight he's going to have to take eventually, so why take it when you're a year older, which is probably when it'll be at this point.
But will Shakur take it?
I think Shakur was begging him for the fight. Shakur is looking for any path towards notoriety, acceptance, money, and it feels like no one will get in there with him.
Yeah, well, he's a real good boxer, man. Nobody wants to fight the guy who's gonna box their ears off for 12 rounds and make him look stupid, feel stupid.
But who else is that? You could be describing Loma.
That's right.
So that's why that was the fight to make. This one should be interesting, but I mean, do you take in terms of predictions? Is it Loma just handedly? I mean, can he stop him? Do you think he can get him out of there? I mean, he's a smaller guy, but I got to say, in the Haney fight, there were a couple moments where I was looking at Haney in the corner like, he don't look so good.
Loma's really good at making guys quit. He's really good at overwhelming people's ability to keep up. We saw, 3 or 4 guys quit on the stool against him in a row. And back, a few years ago when he had his run. That was amazing. The guys quitting, 7th, 8th round, they're like not coming off the stool. I think a few of those guys, Guillermo Rigondeaux said his hand was busted up, but nobody really believed him.
No, you can see the frustration on their face. Just sitting there like, I don't know where he is. I can't hit him, and I'm getting hit. And you can tell you're not going to win the fight. There's nothing that you're going to be able to put together.
You're getting embarrassed.
Yeah. And so what's more embarrassing than quitting on the stool?
So I don't, as far as prediction goes, I don't predict them knocking him out. I predict if there's any finish besides a decision win, it will be Kambosos TKO and not pure KO. But I think that's pretty unlikely, because if we're talking about Kambosos knocking people out, we got to look that up. But when was the last time he got knocked out? When's the last time he quit?
Yeah.
He went the distance in all his biggest events. He went the distance.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the box rec going back, you got majority decision, then you got the 2 unanimous decision losses to Haney, and then you've got split decision win over Teo, and then split decision, and then you got that Richard Penna fight, TKO, and then unanimous decision, TKO, KO. So you got to go back a decent amount, but he's got some KO wins. But I'm with you. I don't see that at all for Loma. he'd have to walk into something pretty stupid for that to. He'd have to have lost a step, I think, between last fight and this one.
And I'm saying, is Kambosos going to get purely knocked out? I don't think so either.
So Lomachenko by decision or technical decision, minus 185. Kambosos by decision or technical decision, plus 800. Kambosos by stoppage, plus 1,400. Lomachenko by KO or TKO, plus 250.
Yeah. So I would go I would predict Loma to win by decision, but if you want to, hedge it a little and have a little fun, put a couple bucks on Loma TKO.
Yeah. That, or I'd take just the money line, Lomachenko minus 700. Because, minus 700 to minus 185 if you're trying to take the decision. So maybe take the money line and then take plus 250 on the stoppage by Loma. Make it exciting.
If you listen to our prediction on Canelo, then we got it right.
Yep.
But I was thinking back on it when I made my original prediction on the air. I said I don't predict Canelo knocking him out. He might knock him down, but the kid's not the kind of kid to stay down. He's going to get up and keep fighting. Now, if we would have put that as our official call, that Canelo to knock down one time and then Canelo to win by decision, that was like plus something crazy. While we're talking about that fight, we asked our fans for some predictions on the Canelo fight, and we had one of our diehard fans comment and perfectly predict a Canelo by unanimous decision. So that's Chi from Instagram.
Shout out Chi.
Now he almost got the call for the Inoue fight too, which we haven't talked about yet today. But he was just a couple rounds off on that one. So,
well, speaking of bets that we got right, if you're betting with us,
that's what we do.
We're your official financial advisors right now. I just want to be very clear. This is a service that we provide.
Yeah.
But yeah, Canelo by unanimous decision. I mean, that almost felt like cheating, but you got the pick right, absolutely out of the park, in a way, in exactly 6 rounds.
Right. Well, I think my initial prediction was 5.
Okay, but you said under 6 was the bet.
The bet line was under 6.
So you got saved. Yeah.
Yeah. I was real close to getting that one. He did knock him down in the 5th.
Yeah, I was watching like, okay, let's pick the tempo up here. Let's pick the pace up here, man. We got one more to go.
Okay. So let's back it up a little bit. Let's just start from the beginning and talk about the Inoue fight. Okay, so what time did you wake up?
Me, I watched that fight at 5 p.m. on the replay. I avoided my phone all day. I saw a text. I saw the nope, no. I waited and watched it.
I can't believe that, dude. I get up early, not early enough to watch it live. I wake up. I wake my son up for school. I make a pot of coffee. I sit by the window with the cats and just
You're just
relax.
A sad, lonely man.
And I have about 10 minutes to look into my phone, check my messages, look at my schedule for the day, and open my phone and just. My thumb is like, got a mind of its own. It presses on the Instagram button.
No.
Open. The first thing I see.
Discipline.
The first thing I see is Naoya Inoue hitting the canvas.
Ooh.
And I almost dropped my phone and yelled out loud and spilled some coffee on myself. And the cats go jumping left and right. And I'm getting scratched on the leg from a kitty flying this way. And I'm like, what is happening in this world? Why is Inoue on the canvas? And why am I'm just spoilers blown, right? So, okay, I got to find out what happened now. Yeah. So right away, probably 6 o'clock in the morning, I catch the highlights. And then later in the day when I got to the gym, I watched the whole fight as a replay. It was insane. It was crazy. What an amazing fight.
Yeah. Is there well, so let's walk through it. So what is it? Was it the first round?
First round, he gets caught with a looping left hand right on the chin and snaps his head around.
Turned his head around, flash knockdown. Like he didn't look like he looked like he recovered quickly. Got his faculty. It took him maybe 30 seconds. There was like a minute left in the round, I think, at that point. He kind of kept him off him, did a little bit of holding, but then he was back to himself.
Was slipping and sliding pretty nicely off the ropes. He was definitely in evasion, tactical kind of, oh, wow, I felt that. But let's take a minute to define what is a flash knockdown for our listeners, and what is a pure knockdown, or So I think about it like how the concussive impact of the punch, right? So imagine getting hit by Big George Foreman with the straight right hand. Right. That's concussive knockdown.
Pure force transfer.
Your brain is bouncing around inside of your skull. It's bruising, and it just shuts itself off for safety's sake. It's forced off. It's a hard reset button. Somebody holding down the computer button to make it reset. The flash knockdown is like a reset, like a quick reset. And typically not as concussive. It's more from a twisting of the neck or slamming your ear down to your shoulder, and it pinches a nerve in your the base of your brainstem, essentially, that also shuts the lights out for a second. So I think that was the latter here, what we saw happen to Inoue, that he got a flash knockdown where he got, he probably didn't even see the punch coming, caught him by surprise, whipped his head around, and he's on the canvas going, what the hell just happened?
Yep.
But he wasn't on the canvas going, oh my God, I can't stand up.
Right.
So-
He was back to essentially, himself pretty quickly, recovers, and then he starts taking over the fight.
But why did he get knocked down?
Yeah, well,
He was trying to knock him out.
yep.
He got what he was asking for.
Yeah,
He was swinging the same punch. Now, it was an open stance footwork battle, Southpaw versus Orthodox, and they're both throwing the same punch at each other. Inoue's coming out throwing like a throwaway leaping jab into a hammering rear hand, like looping hook power punch. And that's exactly what Neri caught him with.
Yeah.
The same punch in the opposite stance with the left hand coming around and catching him. So these guys were both trying to knock each other out in the first round, but up comes Inoue off the canvas, and then we saw what happened in the second round.
So it gets to, Neri before the fight, right? It was very clear, hey, this guy's overrated. I see holes in his game. And to be honest, I kind of agree with him, right? I think he's there to get hit. He's open when he throws. And you can see him when he throws the left, he drops the right. When he throws the right, he drops the left. And it's been a flaw in his game for a long time, but it hasn't mattered because he's got good footwork, so he's in a position to throw where you're not countering him. He's got good timing, so it's hard to interrupt him. And then he's got crazy power, so if he's taking one to land one, the odds are in his favor. That's a
Absolutely.
good trade for him. But Neri was totally able to capitalize on that. But in the end, despite those flaws that I just ran through, he starts to get his timing down. Towards the third, fourth round, every jab he threw was just snapping Neri's head back, couldn't miss, and he followed up with the right hand, or he'd lead off a combination with the right hand, and then he'd get out of danger, and Neri just looked completely outmanned, outclassed, out everything.
Absolutely, yeah. The first knockdown came off of a quick hook counter that Inoue threw, perfectly timed. Maybe Neri was a little off balance, falling into the punch. That one wasn't a super devastating knockdown, but it clearly set the tone and let the whole world know Inoue is not out of this fight. He's in this fight. Now, one guy's knocked down this way, one guy's knocked down that way. It's like, what's going to happen next? But that's why you saw the domination take over. Third round, fourth round, all Inoue, looking really strong, showboating, looking, really confident in there, saying, like, pointing to his chin and all that.
That's when you knew he felt completely safe. There was nothing coming back that he wasn't going to see coming a mile away.
And I'll tell you, too, something about this, that when people talk about flaws in his style, it's a flaw you see in a lot of boxer style that have a similar style to him. Explosive boxers. Anytime you're being explosive and quick like that, there's going to be like a reaction with the other parts of your body besides the fist that's flying.
Right.
And that typically is the other fist goes flying and leaving you open, or your chin comes up in the air. Looking at Ryan Garcia, when he throws that power hook, you freeze frame right before that hook comes. Both hands are out like he's trying to give you a hug. That's how far his right hand flings out as he generates power to throw that left hook. Explosive boxers have defensive flaws. When I'm training fighters and I see these flaws, I make them slow down. I tighten their guard up. We do all kinds of old school methods, to tuck the elbow in and keep the hand on the phone, and it slows them way down. They lose their explosiveness, they lose their power, and they start losing their confidence.
So what's the trade-off there? What do? You let him be defensively unsound in order to get the offense, or do you say, this is too dangerous for you?
I think it's just a natural byproduct of being an explosive, violent puncher, is you have to also be able to take explosive, violent punches back.
Yeah.
Right? If that's going to be your style, well, you got to have a chin. And the kid proved he's got a chin. He got up off the canvas and won the fight. So I think it's, a choice a trainer has to make. But at this point in Inoue's career, he's not a spring chicken. He's 31 years old. So I don't, obviously they're going to improve. They're going to get better. And he did a good job at making some adjustments. But even when he throws the jab, his chin pops up in the air every time. Yeah. And is there somebody that's going to make him pay for that? Maybe at a higher weight class, but right now, the weight class he's in, he's dominated everybody. He's shown he's human and he's touchable, but he's not breakable.
Yeah.
A true monster.
One comparison that I haven't heard get made, but I think is between Inoue and Tio. I saw a little bit of that.
Another explosive fighter.
Exactly, yeah. I saw a little bit of that, kind of in the showboating, but in the way that they get into the rhythm with the shoulder movement when they're stepping and moving in and out of range.
Oh yeah,
right. It's and people always say, "Oh, Tio looks like he's dancing." Inoue actually kind of had that in this fight towards the end of it. But then also, yeah, with how explosive they are, leaping lefts followed up with these looping rights that are almost like half uppercuts, uppercut hooks. They're both very athletic guys, and they generate a lot of power from their athleticism.
Yeah, and it's a confidence too, to the point of arrogance.
Yeah,
that allows you to move like that in the ring. Mm-hmm. And you have the confidence that, I might not have perfect defense, but I don't need it because I'm gonna knock this fool out.
Right, and I'm in motion in transition, so if I do get caught, I'm taking steam off of everything.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta say, getting knocked down like that, as a fight fan, as a coach, I have so much respect for a guy who gets up and wins. Mm-hmm. But how does that affect his standing in the pound-for-pound ranking after now we've seen him touch the canvas off a clean knockdown?
So Crawford's never touched the canvas, right? Not technically.
He's never been ruled a knockdown. Had a controversial one against Kavaliauskas, but if you watch it in slow-mo, I don't think he was super hurt. It was just an awkward deal.
Mm-hmm. And he holds on, right?
And he was holding, sure.
So technically not a knockdown. And then Usyk I think the only time is the quote-unquote low blow. Right.
Sure, and maybe in the amateurs, definitely, but we don't count that here on That's Boxing. Your amateur career is separate from your pro career.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Are you changing you had him number one?
I did.
Of the three.
I got to be honest. You got to put him underneath Crawford after that.
Okay.
Now, no matter how impressed with him I am, how that fight was more about entertainment to me and just pure, oh my God, super wow moments.
Yeah.
Than technical prowess.
So you've got Crawford, Inoue, Usyk.
Right, and
1, 2,
Usyk
3.
might move up over Inoue depending on his performance coming in a couple weeks. So, not to take anything away from the kid and his performance, it was great, but Crawford hasn't been knocked down. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you put them at the exact same size, eye to eye, and had them fight tomorrow, you'd have to say Crawford's probably going to knock that kid down, because we've seen him get knocked down, and Crawford's got a hell of a punch.
Yeah.
And better defense.
But yeah, definitely better defense, a little craftier.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the Inoue question is where, in terms of weight classes, how high can you go? Which is similar to Loma. That's what we're going to find
now,
out.
he's knocked out the other top 3 guys behind him at 122 pounds.
Yeah.
So 126 pounds, 130 pounds. Now people are talking about Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
And if he gets his chin up in there like that against Davis, but now Davis ain't making 130 pounds anyway, so we just move on from that. That's another fantasy fight that I should be talking about.
That would be a crazy fight.
That's another fantasy thing that's not going to happen. They can't boil that kid down to that small.
At that point, I just think let's just go to 140 and let's do Tio versus Inoue, and that'll be the co-headliner with Crawford Canelo.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Let's do it all. Okay. Yeah, and then
call Turkey.
Yeah,
call his honorable Turkey Al Shalik.
I'll shoot him a DM right now, and we'll get this going. Sponsored by That's Boxing.
Did you see the attendance? 55,000 people in the Tokyo Dome.
Crazy. That dude is never gonna fight out of Japan, and why would he?
Why would he?
Yeah.
Now imagine if it had been an upset loss, that place would be considered cursed for all time.
Yeah.
And no boxer would set foot in the parking lot.
And it already was kind of. It was in the last match that was there was Tyson getting knocked out.
Not only the last match, that was the only other boxing event that's happened there.
That's crazy.
So, but there was an upset on the undercard. Maloney lost. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, the other Inoue, the brother, he touched the canvas too. He got knocked down.
Got up and won.
And he got up and won. So those brothers have something in common that night.
Wow.
Overcoming adversity, which makes a boxer so endearing to fans.
Yeah.
And now that we've seen the monster go down, I think it's only going to make people appreciate it more. That'd be like if Canelo had got knocked down and people, be like, wow, he's touchable.
Yeah, he's human. Yeah, I mean, you could feel the energy in there. Was like, is this? Wait, no, right?
This isn't right.
But he got it back for him.
It's not uncommon for boxers to get knocked down like that in the first round. If you're coming in a little cold, a little aggressive, and you haven't activated your defensive instincts
when you could see he hadn't figured him out yet, right? He was learning, and Neri was smart to say, I'm going to put the pedal to the floor like right out of the gate.
That guy can punch.
Yeah, because he doesn't know my timing. He doesn't know what I'm really trying to do, and here he's just learning me, and that's the only time that he had success in the fight. As soon as Inoue's system booted up fully and downloaded the program of his opponent, that was it. It was an easy fight.
Yeah. Super impressive, interesting, and exciting fight. And the guy never disappoints. And now that he's had that performance, I can't wait to see him fight again. And they're talking about he's going to fight this guy Goodman in the fall. They already brought him in the ring after the fight.
I
did
saw
the whole
that.
thing. So, I don't know much about this opponent, but it's the Inoue show, man. I'll watch it every time.
Yeah, 100%. All right, well, good one coming up this week. We're locking in on our official pick, Lomachenko by decision.
Okay, now you guys listen. If you have your own ideas, your own opinions on what's going to happen, please go to our page on Instagram or TikTok at That's Boxing and make your predictions.
Let us know. We'll give you a shout out if you're right or if you're really wrong.
Yeah, and listen, man, if you guys get it right, like down to the round on some of these predictions, we'll give you more than a shout out. We're going to give out some prizes, okay?
Oh, prizes.
Yeah, we got prizes, okay?
Oh, I didn't even know.
All right, we got our main sponsor, Kim Jong Grillin. We'll give you a gift certificate for free lunch down there if you get I'm talking, this has got to be extra special. You call the round, the punch, the exact method of victory. I'm not giving you no free lunch for calling a
There's
unanimous
no free
decision.
lunches.
But if you say in the 7th round, he's going to land a body punch followed by an uppercut. The kid's going to fall down on his left knee and then collapse onto his right shoulder.
That's pretty specific.
Then I'm buying you lunch, okay? That's
right.
the kind of action I want to see on the page. I want accurate and interesting calls.
Yeah, give us what you got. Until next time,
I'm Coach,
I'm Dust.
and that's boxing.
That's boxing.